Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. This is going to be published by Gameland Games and designed by Scott Alms. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It only takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. Now this is going to be like a streamlined version of Tiny Epic Galaxies. A lot of similar ideas in this game from Tiny Epic Galaxies. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'm going to show you what comes with the game, how it plays, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is what a 2-player setup of Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off will look like. Now, a couple notes. You can play up to 4 players. Also, when you're setting this up, you're going to place out these cards, these planets, equal to the number of players plus 2. So right here we have 2 players set up, so we have 4 cards out. Also, each player is going to get their own little galaxy mat. They're going to get their little window token here. They're going to put 2 of the ships on the 3 and the 5 location. That'll be denoted by this little tiny rocket. And they're going to place 2 rockets here. They're going to place their culture on 1 and their energy on 2, denoted by the little symbol on there. So it's really nice. You don't have to guess. It's all there. Then you're going to put out the dice, and you're going to go ahead and put out this mat here, where you're going to put your dice that you activate, plus it also gives you a little cheat sheet on what each thing does. Someone's going to get the first player token, youngest player, or whoever you want to decide. The game itself is going to go up to 21 points. The first person to reach 21 points will end the game. If it's the first player, every other player gets 1 more turn, so everyone has equal number of turns. If it's the player to the right of the first player, that player gets his last turn. But either way, players get equal number of turns throughout this game. A couple things of note in the game is you're going to have this little window here. This little window, so I'm going to use this one to show you, is going to show you what you get. And throughout the game, you can increase this. So at the start of the game, you're going to have 4 dice. So 4 dice. You'll have 2 starships and 0 points. Whenever you get points in this game, you do have to announce your total so everyone knows. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to take a look and see how many dice you roll, in this case 4. So you go ahead and roll the 4 dice. These dice are going to be the actions that you can take on your turn. Now you have 2 ships available, and you can use this die face to send your ships out. So when you send your ships out, you can either go to the planet. If you go to the planet, you stand it upright and you get the thing on the bottom. I'll explain what a couple of those are in a second, but right now just know that if you send your planet ship out like that, you get the value on the bottom. After that, you can send your ship to other planets, but you can't send the ship back to the same planet as it was at. The other thing you can do is you can orbit the planet, and if you orbit the planet, you're going to go right here. And your goal is going to be trying to move your ship up till it gets to the symbol, and then you get this card. When you get this card, you're going to tuck it underneath your galaxy sheet like this, so you can see the symbol, because you can actually use this in the future potentially, and I'll show you that in a minute. That is basically what this starship icon on the die lets you do. The other icon on here is the energy icon. And the energy icon, you're going to get an energy for every planet that you're on that has an energy symbol, whether you're orbiting or not, and your home galaxy for every ship that you have on it, because it has a little energy symbol there. And you'll just simply bring this energy thing up. Now you have a max of 7 of either. They can't go over, so keep that in mind while you're doing it. The other icon is this culture icon, and the way the culture icon works is you're going to get a culture point for every planet that has this culture icon that your ship is on. The gear icon and the plant icon work similar. What they do is if you check right here, if it's a plant or a gear, and you spend that die, you can move your ship, if it's orbiting, 1 space closer to claiming it. The final side of the die here is this galaxy symbol. This galaxy symbol can do 1 of 2 things. One thing it can do is increase your civilization, so you can go up 1, and now you could have 5 dice. You still have 2 ships, but you get 1 point. And the cost of this is going to be shown by this arrow as the next thing up. So this is going to cost 2 energy or culture. And you can move this up one. Next one's 3, 4, 5, and so on. The other thing you can do with the Galaxy side of the die is if you had anything underneath here, you could also pick one of these instead and do the thing. Because you actually have conquered that planet and you can now use that for the Galaxy die. That's it for what the die faces are. The other things you can do is shown on your mat here. You can spend 1 energy to re-roll any of the dice that you haven't used. And when you use dice, they actually go here. You can spend 1 culture to change the face of a die. And you could use the space over here, the converter space. You could spend 1 energy or 1 culture to change the face of the die and set it, dock it here. Now, one thing you'll notice is you can only do the converter once a turn. So you can either spend your energy or culture once a turn to do that. If you dock it in any of these yellow spaces, other players can follow. For 1 culture, they can do the same action that you did. Now it's not identical, but they get to do like deploying their ship. So they can deploy their ship. Gain energy, they get to gain energy. Go up on one of the plants or gears, they get to do that. So all other players are invested in your turn because they can do the same thing. Now if you gain a planet and place it underneath there and it has little points there, you do have to tell everyone your total. Or if you move your civilization up and get more points, you do have to tell everyone's total, because again, the game ends when you hit 21 points. Finally, the symbols on these planets I think are very, very clear, and I really like them a lot. This one here, if you land here, you get +2 energy. This one here, you can bring one of your ships down on the track to bring another one up. This one here, you can spend an energy to gain 2 culture. These ones are the special icons here. This one, everyone else gets to move one of their ships up on the tracks. You get to move one of your ship up twice on a track. That's pretty much it. There's like +2 culture or whatever. The symbols are super easy to read in the game. Again, the game ends when someone hits 21 points. Everyone will get equal amount of turns, and the person with the most points at the end wins. Let's go head back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. Okay, so I really love Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. This game is going to be one of my favorite games from the Tiny Epic line. This is definitely 100% a streamlined version of Tiny Epic Galaxies. So if you like Tiny Epic Galaxies, you're probably going to like this game. If you were okay with Tiny Epic Galaxies, you might love Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. They're very, very, very similar. But like I said, it's definitely a streamlined version. The iconography is much better in Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. Not that it was bad in Tiny Epic Galaxies, but it's really nice in here. Large print, really great. You can just, from the other side of the table, you can instantaneously tell what everything is. Really, really nice components for this game. I really like how they streamlined the player board with that little window thing that moves up. Much easier to read, much easier to understand. Great. So, loved all the different design choices and aesthetics that they put into this one to make it super clear and super easy to understand everything going on. And with that, it makes it much easier to teach someone and learn how to play this game. Comes much quicker. So if you like Tiny Epic Galaxies, you're going to probably love Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. If you've never played either, this is basically the one I would definitely suggest playing first, Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. They might bring out more expansions like they did for Tiny Epic Galaxies, because one of the things that I loved about Tiny Epic Galaxies is, I think it's Into the Black or something like that, the expansion for Tiny Epic Galaxies that brought in asymmetric player powers, which was really, really cool. So I hope they do that with this in the future, but if not, it's still a solid, wonderful game. So that's my thoughts on Tiny Epic Galaxies Blast Off. Thank you for watching.